balancing the good and the bad.
It needs to be a weapon. A huge gun. No. A small gun. No. Bunch of small guns. Stop talking.
And look out behind you. There is a giant monster back there. Just FYI.
There's glitter everywhere, and I thought it was just me.
So great to meet you, Grae.
I was at Comic-Con, and I had the pleasure of drawing with Tony and Callan.
Oh, amazing. You got to experience Callan in person.
It was absolutely delightful. And P.S., we also got to use the app where our drawings come to life.
Oh, yeah. They did a really great job with that app, didn't they? It's very fun.
Unbelievable. It really made me feel, I just like magic is real.
Because it is. That's because it is, Grae. It is very. It is
Oh my God. Well, I wanted to actually start by talking about drawings such as Dave.
Yeah.
Whose drawings are these?
So, in the end, they are drawings by an artist named Christian Gale, who is, I believe, a 20 or 30-year-old man who is channeling the mind of a depressed 12-year-old girl across. Now, the monster designs themselves had several stages of development. Some of them I knew what I wanted them to look like. Some of them I didn't. But a team of concept artists led by Michael Cribbs did a first pass of concept art for them, and then we gave that concept art to our kids and had them draw their own versions based on the look of the concept art. Awesome. And then we took that back to Michael and we redid the concept art, adding all of these like asymmetries, longer legs, shorter legs, weird proportions. And then even then, Bia Bell, who plays Amber, would be on set drawing pictures in the background, and we'd look at them after and be like, oh, these rule. And so we would take those and influence that into the designs as well. And then sometimes once we started building the 3D models to be animated and rendered in the movie, we would find cool little opportunities for other visual things that would require us to go back in and in post with visual effects, alter some of the drawings on paper in certain shots where she's drawing them. So it was a constantly evolving looks for them to make sure that they matched what she drew and what they ended up coming alive as. But there were so many different cooks in that kitchen in a good way, some, believe it or not. Yeah.
It really sounds like it, because it's one of my favorite things about film as a taking a village. It's like it's a creative medium shared among a lot of people. And when everyone has the goal in mind, like the same goal, then it all works.
Yeah.
And it was, I just love how they came to life, because it was so unsettling.
Oh, thank you. That's what we wanted. We really wanted to make monsters that somehow were felt genuinely threatening, but also goofy as hell. We wanted to see if we could make something that was both funny and scary at the same time. So it's really wonderful to hear you say that.
Is there one monster that you feel like a certain kinship to?
I do. I love the Eiders. The Eiders are, the Eiders, as you know, are little red spiders made of chalk with their bodies or eyeballs.
They're behind you.
And she draws them in response to her dad taking her notebook and looking at it when he said he wouldn't. So she draws these monsters that take your things, whether they be personal possessions or your eyeballs or fingernails, and just to look at them. And I felt a kinship to those because for a couple of reasons. One, I love in monster movies, my favorite are usually insect-related monsters because I'm terrified of bugs. But I love monsters that come in groups and hordes, and they're smaller monsters that come in hordes. I love the death by 1,000 cuts. My favorite Jurassic Park death is in the second one with Peter Stormare, where he gets attacked by the green compies and the packs of them. But also they were inspired directly by this thing. Taco Bell did this, believe it or not, in the 90s. Taco Bell did a campaign every Halloween where they would release these, what were called, I think, monster eye straws. There were these crazy straws that had eyeballs in them.
Oh.
And that my first movie I ever made in 6th grade was with these as a dumb alien movie with these little eyeball straws. So it was kind of an homage to that as well. That's why they're my favorite.
Unbelievable. I love that. There was I think we might be about the same age, and I feel like things were significantly more terrifying for children back then.
They were, and I'm not saying I don't. I'm afraid to, I agree with you, and I'm always afraid to agree because I know there's some parents out there that will hear that and be like, "Well, then I'm not taking my kid to this," because it was such a weird, delicate balance with this movie, where I feel like we made some really scary stuff, but we were always very cognizant to know, like, I, as a parent, I would hate taking my kids to something and feeling like no matter how cool you are as a parent, you're still always nervous. Like, does this filmmaker really have my kid's best interests at heart? Even though, like, that's such a weird thing to say because I don't even want the filmmaker to think about my kid, but. All that to say, they did used to be more dangerous, and I miss it.
Well, and I think the thing that really stands out about Sketch is that the reason that these drawings exist is lodged in my brain forever as one of the best reasons it's one of the best motivations ever. Like, these are emotional challenges that this girl is going through that all kids go through. And yet the counselor, instead of scolding her, is like, actually, this was a really constructive way to express that. And I think that alone is like, take your kids to see this movie for sure.
Oh, I love that you said that. That came straight out of something that happened to my sister when we were kids. She drew a picture of her teacher getting pelted with arrows and had just enough blood in the picture in it that she had to see a counselor. And the counselor said, "Did you really want to see this happen to your teacher?" And she said, "I did when I drew it. I don't now." And the counselor said, "Well, I think you did the right thing. I think that drawing this was a much healthier choice than doing it." And I remember being in middle school at the time and hearing about this and being like, that's the most badass thing anyone's ever said to a kid. Like, this thing that made all the adults in your life sweaty and nervous is actually evidence that you're a good person, making healthy emotional choices and processing your emotions in a healthy way. And I was like, that is the kind of adult I want to be in some kid's life when I grow up. But then I became an adult, I had kids, and one day my daughter brought home drawings that were just inventively violent, like so much blood, a surprising amount of parent death. And we didn't let our kids watch horror movies, so it was like, where is this coming from? And I realized in that moment, like, as a human being, we're capable of believing two things at once. Like, I can believe that art is the safest place for violence, and while simultaneously believing that my daughter's a serial killer and it's somehow my fault. And that tension felt really writable to me and funny, and it felt like a Tony Hale role, to be honest. And that was the genesis for the movie. So that opening is straight out of my sister's life. So I love that you connected with it.
I really did. It's unforgettable. And in a movie that's so visually rich, what would everyone be surprised is actually practical?
That's a great question. I don't know, because, the thing is, well, we crashed a bus. Did we really crash that bus? We just jettisoned it.
Damn, that scene is tense too.
It's fun. It was so therapeutic for us because that bus sucked. It sucked to sit on that bus. But man, school buses, for some reason, we as a society have decided that our children don't need to be air conditioned on their way to be educated. And the aisles are made for one person at a time to go down them. So you fill it with several departments of a film crew and cast and, camera and lighting. You have it all set up, and everybody needs to get to the actor to check hair and makeup, to check lighting, but you can only get there one at a time, and it's hot, and it's August in Nashville, Tennessee, and you're questioning all of your career choices and life choices, and then one day you get to just jettison that thing into a cornfield and just watch it die. And then you have to sit in it for another week and film for another week while it sits still in a cornfield and just roasts all of you. That was practical. A lot of the chalk effects and like melty, like crayon stuff, that was anything that really touches the actors tended to be practical. The Eider sequence in the hallway, we found out before we shot that scene that the chalk powder that you use in like color runs and like Holly festivals and stuff, is actually wildly combustible, and one static electricity spark would like ignite the house if we brought that stuff in.
Oh, cool.
But we found a baking soda. So we ended up having to do a lot of that haze in post, but we found a baking soda based mixture that we could put into ping pong balls and have Hugh Lawrence, the actor who played Jack, like stomp on them on the ground, and they would bust this like great red powder out that was totally safe. So that's all practical. But I I love your question about, what would be people be surprised to know what's practical. But I love the question of what would they be surprised is not real, because there's so much in this movie you would have no idea is actually a visual effect. There were scenes where the stuff, we're working on indie budget with indie resources, and we're working with kids who have such limited hours they can work. And when you have to wrap a kid, you can't get overtime. You have to call cut in the middle of a take and let them go home. And there were moments where I couldn't tilt down to her arm for an important reveal that happens in the third act. I have the shot of her hand, but not her arm. But with visual effects, we're able to extend her arm and add the art onto the arm that needs to be there. And no one would have any idea that that's CGI, but it's in the movie and within the realm of our budget because visual effects exist, And man, there's so many more in the movie that would take me hours to walk through.
And seamless. By the way, you crashing a bus is another helpful way of you dealing with your emotions.
It is a healthy way, as long as trained professionals are driving the bus and wearing helmets.
Thank you.